Hi, everybody, and thank you for watching our podcast. I like to do this every couple of months and showcase things that are happening in our amazing school district. I am Rhonda Taylor, and I'm the superintendent of the Lakeside Union School District. I like to showcase our schools and the events that are happening and new things that are coming along, as well as a business or two. Today, we just have the one. And an organization, I don't have one this time, but I will definitely have one next time. But we do have our Boys to Men. So they are our first guests, and that is an organization within our school. So I didn't get a club this month, so I was really sad about that. We'll try again next month. I am going to bring in Mr. Albert Reed, and he is from an organization called Boys to Men. And he's going to explain to us that what they do for our young men in our middle schools. Hi, welcome, Albert.
Hi, how are you doing, Rhonda?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us today. And so we're live, and we're going to talk about the awesome organization Boys to Men. I met you when you and your team actually at Lakeside Middle School. You were working with some boys there, and so I just want to have you talk about your organization, your purpose, and what you're doing.
Absolutely. First off, thanks for having me on the podcast to discuss this. It's a great privilege, and it's a great privilege to be in your school district serving the boys over at Lakeside Middle School.
We're happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A great team of people over there. So, yeah, a shout out to Steve, the principal, and Josh Tenney, coach, who sits with us in those circles and groups, and Sarah Carter, a counselor, and previous vice principal Zolmo Santana for helping us initiate the group last year as well. So
awesome.
A little bit about our group, I guess. First off, I'm one of a team of facilitators for Boys to Men. Boys to Men Mentoring is a nonprofit. It's a 501c3 corporation. It was founded back in 1996 by three men, local men, Joe Sigurdson, Craig McLean, and Joe's father, Herb Sigurdson. Shortly after they'd, I guess, undergone what is known as the New Warrior Training with something called Mankind Project. It's a men's transformational work and initiation experience. It occurred to them, why are we doing this in our late 30s or 40s as men? And is it possible to provide something similar, to younger men to help navigate them through a lot of their struggles or challenges that they're experiencing earlier on in life? And so come about 1997, so a year after their experience with that, then Governor of California, Pete Wilson, and wife Gail, they were promoting the goal of recruiting, I think it was 250,000 mentors in California for at-risk youth by 2000 was their goal. And Joe and his team, they got word of this, and so they jumped right on it. And then talking about the following 7 years or so, they were building and revising their program, doing what they were uniquely qualified to do, which was to take the skills that they had learned in introspection, self-reflection, that stuff, accountability, and then transfer that into a program that could serve the youth of our county. So after another 7 or so years, there were about 35 Boys to Men centers worldwide. So this thing really caught on like a wildfire. They started in their neighborhoods with as few as 10 boys, with local little leagues. I believe it was the Boy Scouts and so forth. And then by 2009, Boys to Men was in the San Diego county schools. And from then on, we've just continued to grow. Today, we have chapters in other states. As of today, right now, we have 21 groups running in, I think it's 20 schools all over San Diego County, from as north as Fallbrook to as close to the coast as Barrio Logan and Stockton areas, to Chula Vista, Lakeside, you name it, we're there or trying to be there.
Right.
And what we do is we actually serve middle and high school boys. So boys between the ages of 12 to 17 years old. As many of us know, especially those who are either parents or those working in schools, it's a very kind of pivotal time in a young man's life. A lot of transformation is going on physiologically, psychologically for them. Our program's designed and adapted to the needs of our schools communities that host it, and we conduct weekly groups that can be between about 50 to 60 minutes long. So, for example, at Lakeside, we have an hour group that runs once a week, and we accommodate up to 20 boys in our groups. So that's quite a few boys. And whom are identified and invited to join us by their school admins and certificated staff. The boys' backgrounds and their needs, they vary. Some might be at risk of, let's say, like dropping out or juvenile delinquency or gang involvement. But those aren't the only boys that we're working with. Others might not be dealing with those things, and they may just need fellowship or to feel seen or to be heard.
Right.
So, we provide a space for that as well. We basically welcome all boys. The more diverse the group, obviously, the more enriching our discussions are with the boys, because now they're providing their own life experience and what they're faced with in life, and then they're discussing that amongst themselves and other mentor volunteers who accompany us to our groups. Young men who may not normally hang out with each other on campus are provided with a unique opportunity to engage in direct, meaningful, open, honest conversation with other boys they would otherwise wouldn't think to talk to, perhaps even. So
Right.
it's a good basis for generating new friendships and opening one's minds to the experiences of others who we may not, really kind of be considering, right, on a
Right.
usual basis. And the way that we do all of this is we rely on an impossibly diverse network of men from around the county of San Diego to hold space for and empower thousands of boys in these schools. And we recruit these men, or they come because they've found out about us from somebody that they know, or they've heard about us or seen billboards or something, or read about us. And then they go through a live scanning process. So there's a background check involved for all of our volunteers who participate on the schools. And then they're assigned to schools based upon, when their availability is, or basically where they are at. So if it's a man from a specific community where one of the schools that we're working in is, then it would make sense to have that man join us there. So maybe he could speak to certain things that are specific to that community. We meet the young men where they're at, basically, in these groups. And we have some basic principles that undergird our approach inside of the circles that we conduct. It doesn't make much sense to say it. I guess FRAP is one of our acronyms, FRAP. I guess in a way it does mean something. It means to bind. If you were to look it up, FRAP means to bind. So we're not there to bind these young men. Rather, we're there to, we have another acronym called LAMP, LAMP, so to provide a light. And then in order to meet the boys where we're at, what the acronyms stand for is for FRAP, we're not there to fix these young men. They don't need fixing. They're not broken. We're not there to rescue these young men either. Their predicaments are the whetstone upon which they'll hone their resolve and their ability to address the issues in their own unique ways. They are capable of critical thinking, right? And so the A in FRAP means advice. We do not provide advice for these young men. We don't undermine their ability to critically think of solutions to their own challenges in life. And we encourage them, we hold space. And then lastly, we don't project. So, like I said, we have an impossibly diverse network of men who participate in this to hold space as mentor volunteers. And they come from all different walks of life and backgrounds, dilemmas, opinions, philosophical, political, religious persuasions. And so one of those big rules is that we don't walk into these groups and then project on them what it is that we believe in, right? Our main job is to just, and this is LAMP, is to listen to them, is to accept them, is to model for them. How do we model for them? We do so by basically relating to them. So if a young man is sharing in the circle something about, things that are going on at home or things that he's seen in the past that have created a great deal of grief, sadness, trauma, and then something's triggered with one of the mentor volunteers or one of us as facilitators, because, if you've got 4 men in the group, there's a high likelihood that we've experienced a little bit of what they're going to bring to the table in that group and share as well, right? So then we can speak to that and we can discuss how maybe we navigated those things. So we're not there to necessarily advise them or tell them how to do things, but rather to discuss with them the millions of different ways that we've screwed up in life. And maybe they glean something from that. They walk away with little gold nuggets that they're then willing to apply to their own life.
Right.
And then maybe that helps them make better decisions moving forward. And so the last thing is we also praise them. That would be the P in the LAMP acronym. So we praise these young men. So you might have boys that are struggling academically, and then maybe, a young man is getting all Fs, and then he walks into group one day and he says, hey, you know what, I managed to get one of those Fs up to a D. Well, the whole circle at that point just cheers that young man on. They rally around him. to celebrate the small victories, because it's each one of those little steps that is leading to bigger victories in their lives. And insofar as they have the encouragement behind them, then they're more likely to continue to make the decisions that will allow them to kind of continue to achieve the goals,
Right.
that they make for themselves.
Well,
Uh,
all of this is so important to our young men who some of them may not have the role models at home or be able to have those conversations. And so it helps them as far as preparing them for the academics. It's like if they are not ready in a place where they can open to learning, then this is one of those avenues that you are providing to help them get them ready to learn the academic portion of their day. And I've seen you guys in action with them, and I just really appreciate all of the work that you're doing with our young men. And then and we've already talked about having something for our young women too. So I mean,
yes,
that's out there. And then you were talking the other day about a nature camp that you have that you have access to. Can you describe that just a little bit?
absolutely. So Boys to Men is, it's beyond the schools, right? It really is. That's a starting point, really. That's where we build the trust. That's where we make initial contact with a lot of these young men. Um, but throughout the course of a year, right, we continue to do this work. We discuss the things that we do, and then the hope is that they'll continue to open up and exhibit leadership skills, accountability, honesty, integrity, vulnerability. A lot of these things that I guess in the past have been dismissed, right, as characteristics of being a man. You don't want to talk about your problems. You don't want to share your emotions, that type of a thing. So insofar as we get boys that continue to come and they show up in this capacity where they're leading the group by modeling these characteristics that are very healthy, because people need to discuss things, right? It starts there. You get it out so that it doesn't just fester inside of you and then appear in some sort of maladaptive or aberrant behaviors. So as the groups proceed throughout the school year, we identify certain boys with the help of staff and the admins, um, to then invite for a rite of passage weekend. We call it Adventure Mountain Weekend. Boys
Mm-hmm.
to Men has 16 acres of land on Palomar Mountain, and it's called Legacy Ranch. So it's a big plot of land. And we identify 16 boys at a time for each one of these events. And they go up there with a group of our adult male volunteer mentors. And then they'll also they'll also go up to the mountain with a group of boys who have already been through the program before. And those men are called those young men are called journeymen.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they called journeymen? Because, they're still on that journey to becoming men. But now that they've accomplished the rites of passage and they've been in program themselves, they then are made to step up into positions of responsibility. And so you get what we call initiates who will go up on the mountain with us to go further into their work, and it's kind of a really intense, emotional, but insightful weekend. Many young men come back from it. They talk about how it's changed them, and many of them stick around and they continue to be a part of our program. They go on to be journeymen and they participate in kind of civic activities that we do around the community. And so that would be the Adventure Mountain Weekend that you were referring to. Outside of that, we also have summer programming for boys. So we take them on a lot of different activities. Like we have surf nights that we do, hiking, basketball camps with John Olive. Up in the North County, we have the batting cages and driving range per a stadium golf center with Barry Malberg and his colleagues over there. Again, we have civic responsibility activities. We work with the MAC Project and the San Diego Food Bank, and we do food distribution with the boys. We do Memorial Day flag raising with Greg and Janet Deering of Deering Banjo Company, and that's in Campo, right, with the Casa de Oro Alliance and the Boy Scouts there. We support and celebrate our fellow nonprofits. Like we worked with Girls on the Run before, out on Mission Bay. So there's so much that Boys to Men does that's outside of this that we can offer to these young men, so that they can have that sense of kind of community, and participating and doing things and achieving things and contributing. And we also have group mentoring, so open communities we host bi-weekly. Or I'm sorry, bi-monthly, in the parking lot where our home offices is located, that people are welcome to join. Obviously, we have the site-based school mentoring for middle and high school, and then we have mentor trainings as well, right? So, we don't just pull people off of the street and say, okay, now join us in this group. You're a mentor, right?
Right.
And just lived experience and life experiences of value and can be brought into one's mentoring. We do offer trainings around that, trainings on diversity, on communication, on trust building, so that our mentor volunteers and ourselves as facilitators, who are staffed, can enter into these schools well prepared, right, with a tool set
Right, right.
in
Well,
order
it
to.
sounds like an amazing program. I know it is an amazing program, and I'm sorry, but our time is up. And
Okay.
it is. I love how you get so on fire talking about it because you're very
Yeah.
passionate about this work. So, and I've seen it really do wonders for our students. So, once again, just thank you for joining us and thank you for talking about this. And I know that you attend events at schools and you guys have flyers and you're passing out so that if people are interested, they can know more about you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Albert. And I'm going to go ahead and put you backstage. You can log off whenever. And I just really enjoyed talking to you. I'm so glad that you did this.
Thanks, Rhonda. And one other thing, if anyone wants any further information about us, feel free to give us a call at 619-469-9599, or you can go to boystomen.org. Okay?
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Albert. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, and our next guest is Mr. Don Wisman. He is a current board of trustee. And so we'll bring him in and talk to Mr. Don. Hi, Mr. Wisman. How are you? And we were working so well. Is your sound on? Uh-oh. And now he's gone. Well, that happens. Sometimes that just happens. I have two guests that have just been kicked out. So we're going to try again. Let me text him. He's trying to get back in.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Okay.
I can hear you now.
Good. Okay. So here we are. This is board trustee Don Wisman, and he has been on the board for a year and a half or almost a year and a half, right?
Yeah, a year and a half. Since June of 2021, I've been on the board.
Well, very good. So why did you want to be a school board member? What drew you to that position?
Well, actually, after 40 years in education, is 24 of which were in Lakeside, where I kind of learned to be a teacher. I was a science teacher at Tierra del Sol Middle School for 21 years, and I was the vice principal there for 3 years. It was kind of a way for me to give back to the community. Teacher friends, when there was an opening, when you left the board, Rhonda, teacher friends bugged me and said, Don, we need somebody with an education background that's a true advocate for science, because we're married to an art teacher, so we advocate for arts and sciences. So I thought this is the way I could give back and maybe use some of my expertise in the area of science and teaching and learning, and be an advocate for kids, for hands-on, minds-on learning for all kids.
Awesome.
So that's why I decided to apply for, and I eventually was unanimously chosen by the 4 other board members, which I'm very proud of. So
nice. Yes. And so what do you like most about being a board member?
Well, because you kind of get to see the policy put into practice. You get to see the things, the goals that we have set forth as the board members being put into practice. Like, for example, with the science adoption, getting to see kids work in groups, interact, and learn about the natural world, and kind of explore their own curiosity about how things work. And so you get to see policies put in action. You get to support teaching and learning on a firsthand basis. You're kind of like a grandparent. You get to go visit classrooms and play a little bit with the kids and see how they're learning and how excited they are to learn. And then, but you don't have to do the disciplining, which is kind of fun too.
Yes.
So.
That's definitely one of the best parts.
Right.
So just seeing the kids and their joy is so nice, walking through. And I was in a classroom today where I got to watch a lesson over at Lakeview, and the students were just so engaged, and their energy is just amazing. So that's really the fun part of it. Like when I was on the board, that was the fun part of it for me, was going into the classrooms and seeing the learning. What has been the most, I don't know, do I want to say surprising or challenging part about being a board member?
Well, I try to model decorum and how we treat people. So some of the board member meetings have gotten contentious, but I think by and large, I really like hearing people's ideas and their concerns. And maybe I don't always agree with them, but if they are willing to listen to the rationale on why I make my decisions, I'm always going to make decisions that I think promote kid first. We wanted kids to be in schools safely, and interacting with each other. And so that's in this last year with all the COVID and all the other things. Those are how I made my decisions. Is wanting to support kids staying in school, interacting with each other and with the teacher in person, because we know the kids all had a lot of learning loss via Zoom. Was not the most effective way of teaching. So we want to keep the kids in school engaged in learning and meaningful learning in all subject areas. And so,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was, gosh, that was a really hard time. And it was a very hard time to be a board member. And so, I mean, I just every day, I'm just grateful that we're moving out of that. Surely we have other issues ahead of us, but we are moving away from that. And so I'm just happy about
our main issue now is how do we get kids back up to speed?
Right.
What interventions can we do to make them catch up to their reading level, their math levels, and also support our signature programs like science, arts, and language immersion. All those are also important, because anything that links kids to school are going to make them want to learn and be in school and actually improve their test scores. And a kid is so much more than a test score. So that's why we have to have those music, arts, science programs, and language immersion, because we want these kids to be ready to be global citizens where they could get a job in a STEM, 8 out of 10 jobs are going to be in the STEM or STEAM fields. So we want kids to be ready to be able to do that.
Yeah, agreed. So, yeah, I think that's just all part of being a board member and being out and about and doing that work. So just Dawn, I want to thank you so much for joining us today and talking about the board member experience. And anything else that you have for us?
No, I just want to say I really appreciate being part of the community, how the stadium and all the other organizations in the community, the chamber, support the schools, how our schools are able to get funding for certain things through all these different organizations. And we're so lucky to be part. I've lived in Lakeside since 1987. I've taught here since 1980. My wife went to school here. My son went to school here. My wife was the art teacher at TDS. We met teaching. My son is a PE teacher at Santana High School. He played baseball at El Cap. And so I'm really tied to the community. And this is one way that I can give back to the community and really support teaching and learning at all grade levels, K-8 and pre-TK now, the little TKers. And I'm really excited about the Dream Academy up in Eucalyptus Hills, where we're going to do some kind of science, design, engineering, agriculture, because we're one of the few districts that has an ag program and trying to develop that pathway. And so hopefully I could help with that.
Yeah, that is exciting. I'm excited about the Dream Academy too. So that's just definitely something that it's close to my heart. I want that. I just can't wait till we can open full time for all of the kiddos.
Right.
So, okay, Don, well, thank you. Our time is up, and thank you for joining us. And
thank you.
We will talk soon.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too.
So our next guest is, he was Mike from Ray's Barbershop across the street, but we're having a really hard time. He's getting in and then he's getting kicked out and getting kicked out. And so we're going to try another time with Mike from Ray's Barbershop. But if you are in need of a haircut, make sure that you get over to Ray's Barbershop. And I would like to bring in my next guest a little bit early. So I'm seeing her sit down right now. So I'm going to pull her in. And hi, Kelly Gilbert.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm bringing him in a little early. One of our guests, it just got booted out. So he's going to try another time. But so this is Kelly Gilbert. She is our amazing principal at Lemon Crest Elementary. And so Kelly, tell us what's great about Lemon Crest.
Thank you for having me. So we have so many exciting things happening at Lemon Crest this year. I'm new to the school, but not new to Lakeside. And so I'm really excited to pick up the baton at Lemon Crest that had already been started last year, specifically with regard to a program called Expeditionary Learning. And so really what Expeditionary Learning does is it gives kids future-ready skills by giving them an immersive experience to problem solve real-world issues through literacy. And so our kids are doing some fabulous things right now. Our fifth graders just made these beautiful robots to solve problems. Our kindergartners just did this alphabet fashion show for the families of the community. And we're trying to really bring the community into the learning process as well. So we're really, really excited about this initiative. Something else that we're doing as kids emerge from the pandemic is we're trying to give them those social emotional skills to get along with each other and problem solve and collaborate in a productive way. So we're implementing something called peaceful playgrounds, where kids have a more structured environment with language to use while they're playing in unstructured time. And so that's really helping our kids learn those social skills that they missed out on through the pandemic.
Awesome. Peaceful Playgrounds is such a great program. So are you seeing, what does this do for kids as far as, yes, it gives them the language, but it also helps them to, I believe, problem solve if they're having a problem on the playground?
Definitely. So one of the things that we're teaching our kiddos is the difference between things that are a big deal. This is an emergency. We need to get an adult involved, and this is how we appropriately do that. Or, hey, this is a little deal. I'm going to use my resiliency skills and strategies that we're working on in the classroom to work with my peers to solve these problems on the playground. And we do it through playing games, different ways of engaging with one another so kids become more resilient. We want them to learn how to win appropriately, how to lose appropriately, how to negotiate interpersonal conflict. And so it's been really, really positive. We're seeing the language be used throughout the campus. It's transferring over to the lunch area. It's transferring over to the classroom. So we're really, really excited about the work that we're doing on that front.
That sounds amazing. Okay, and so do you have any big events coming up or anything along those lines, or did you just already have them all?
Yeah, well, we just had Boo Bash on Friday, which was super fun to have the community out. We had dress up, we had face painting. Our PTA was absolutely amazing in working on this. It's also Red Ribbon Week, hence my red. And today is Red Day. And every day this week, we're dressing up to celebrate staying away from drugs, saying no to drugs. And tomorrow we're having a very special BMX assembly where they're going to come out with their bikes and perform for the kiddos. And we're going to talk all about drugs and how to just take care of our bodies in a way that's healthy. On Monday, we are doing our Halloween parade. So our families are going to come to school and watch our kids parade around campus. And we are super, super excited about that.
It is so nice to be able to welcome our parents back on campus for events like that. And so, yeah, just really, really excited about that. Okay, well, Kelly, I just want to thank you so much for joining us, and good luck with the rest of your school year.
Thank you so much for having me.
Place to be.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Of course. Bye-bye. Okay, I'm going to try and bring in Mike from Ray's Barbershop. He is really trying to be here. I know he's having a hard time with his connection. Let's see, will it happen? This happens, and it's just so sad. He's texting me saying he's in. Can you hear me, Mike? Let me see if his camera's, can you hear me? We might have to bring Mike in another time. I think I can hear you. Mike, can you hear me? Okay, well, I think that we're going to have to schedule this. Trying again. Hang on. Let's see if he can go. He's got a bad connection, he's saying. So next time I'll bring him over to the district office and we'll get him in. Ray's Barbershop is a great business here in Lakeside. So I really appreciate them and want to showcase them. So then that is all for today, friends. And I will be doing another one soon. And I will get Mike back in here from Ray's Barbershop. And I hope that you enjoyed our time together. And if you have a business that you would like to have featured on with us, then please let me know. Reach out, rtaylor@lsusd.net. And have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.